So from here, the next step is to take it further. Where we had just the crisscross line, we can then add diagonal lines. And it's the same principle involved. And once the kids get the basics of it, we can take it further and further and further. Once again, it's all about going from the first dot here to the adjacent one there. We never go directly across to the same dot on each line. So once again, put the pencil on the dot, move the ruler around to the first one, and a line. Number 2 to number 2. And sometimes you might find if you put the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that does help the kids. Number 3 to number 3. And at the start, where it's hard to see which one you've used, it's important to go back and count 1, 2, 3. Then up to number 4 to number 4, number 5 to number 5. Keep in mind, we always want to make sure that the lines, the dots are matching before we draw the line. 6 to 6, 7 to 7, line it up before you do the line. 8 to 8, and these ones at 1 centimetre apart, it can get tricky when they are closer than that, but it depends on how you can teach your kids. And we just turn it around and we go again. Number 1 to number 1, number 2 to number 2, and so on. Now, once you've got that, there's so much involved in just the measuring of the lines. You can take it further with other shapes. Other ones I've done, it's just with a square. These are all about 18 or 19, so I go from number 1 to number 1. I tell the kids that we never go straight through the middle. There's no line that goes in the middle. So if they've got their ruler and it looks like they're going to go to the opposite side, just stop there. So that's number 1, down to number 1. Number 2, down to number 2. And so on. So it's all about the ruler just gradually. It's like the hand of a clock going around. That's using a square. Similar things, a triangle. It's important that we tell the kids it doesn't mean it's more difficult, it's another shape. It's the same principle. Number 1, down to number 1, nothing goes through the middle. So if I go number 1 to the adjacent one, number 1 down the bottom. Now the first one's always the trickiest because it's a bit close. Double check number 2 to number 2, if I can get it right. Number 3, 1, 2, 3, to 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, to 4. And as I get to the middle of it, it's a bit easier to see them. 5 to 5, 6 to 6, 7 to 7. This is where it's easy in the middle part. 8 to 8, 9 to 9. And once again, there's a lot of the measuring involved. It's also that manual task of ruling, the fine motor skills that we're developing. And when I started doing this, that's one thing I found, that just that skill of how to rule a line was something that had to be taught very, very carefully and patiently. So I find that kids can get very frustrated at the very first attempt. We want them to make mistakes. We want them to find out where they need to change what they're doing. And the last one here, and we go across there. As you can see, that's all in one colour. But if you can blend the colours, I've used grey leads where you go heavy, a bit softer, and then very soft. Heavy, a bit softer, and very soft. You get shades. I've used different colours, blue, green, red, yellow, blue, green, red, yellow, and the colours blend in together. Then we go from number 1 to number 1, number 2 to number 2. So we're doing that. And then I can spin it around and go from 1 to 1, 2 to 2. Once again with the rectangle, same principle. You'll notice here that I've got every centimetre and mark. So I think they're about 18 or 19 there. Here, I have to make sure I've got the same amount, but they're every half centimetre. So that's a bit of a tricky one for measuring first, but once again, that's how you instruct the kids. That looks terrific as well. diamond, a circle, and all I've done, I treat it like a clock. I've got the 4 main measurements, so I call that the 12, the 3, the 6, and the 9. And I tell the kids we don't draw lines from then. It's always the first one in this section to the first one in that section. This alone lends itself to the concept of fractions. You've got the 4 equal parts. So we go number 1 to number 1. Number 2 in that section to number 2 in this section. Number 3 to number 3. Number 4 to number 4. 5 to 5. 6 to 6. 7 to 7. 8 to 8. You could do the main ones as well, but I choose not to because it gives the kids a bit of a focus point. And then we just go from, I can turn it around, and I go from number 1 to number 1, number 2 to number 2. Mix your colours up, see what else you can come up with. And from there, you can get into things like doing, I know that's not very round, if you do 2 circles, then you may do a triangle. Then even a face. Once again, we just divide it into 4 sections. 1, and I'll put my notches. That's just number 1 to the adjacent one to number 1, number 2 to number 2, 3 to 3, and so on. So it's just getting a basic idea and taking it further. Good luck.